what he decides to tell us and thinks about his messages to us a lot, depending on the week and what's going on in the world, throughout the league, with us, and I would say that's one of his better ones. He every week seems he has a message for us on Friday, Saturday night that resonates and is different every week, and that's why I love him as a coach.
Joe, the mic caught you last game screaming that you're him. What is saying I'm him?
Did I say that? Sometimes you black out there, I guess. I don't know.
Has it sunk in yet that you're one winning away from playing in your second Super Bowl in back-to-back years yet?
No, I haven't even thought about it. We're focused on this week. We're focused on the Chiefs. We're not playing for a Super Bowl this week, so got to get through this one.
There's been a lot of talk of people calling Arrowhead, Burrowhead, just given how successful you were there last year. I mean, when you hear stuff like that, I mean, you're obviously confident in yourself, but do you get like an extra kind of kick out of just hearing that, knowing that you've been successful in a tough place like that?
We've been in these spots. We have the experience. We know what team we're playing. Team that's been to this game the last 5 seasons, and they've all been in that stadium. So, to me, they're still the team to beat, and we're coming for them. But we know it's going to be tough. We know it's going to be hard fought, and we know the kind of players that they have on that side.
Do you feel like this is a division game almost? You played them this way the 4th time in
Yeah.
13 months, you know each other so well and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Played them twice the last 2 seasons, and really basically a month apart each time. So, we know them, they know us. It's going to be a fun one.
Is it harder to reset considering how you won the other day? It was more dominant than your other postseason wins. Is it any more challenging to do that?
No, it's not. That's what it is every week. Whether it's win or lose throughout the regular season, you get 17 reps of resetting after each week and moving on to the next one. So we've been in these spots. We know what it's going to take.
Before the playoffs, you were talking about why you have enjoyed taking the hard path throughout your life. Why has that been fun for you, and why have you succeeded in those situations?
Just more gratifying, and when the road that you've been on has been tough, and maybe other people have had it easier. It's always more satisfying when you pull it out in the end.
What makes Joe, your offensive coordinator Brian Callahan and Dan Picture, so unique in big game moments and preparing you for big games like this?
Man, they do a great job. I think we have the best coaching staff in the league. They make adjustments better than anybody. Whatever we're seeing on the field, there's always great dialogue going on the sideline. We're always trying to figure out, what can we do to attack what we're seeing and get some explosive plays and stay on track and run the ball well. And they do an unbelievable job throughout the week and then on game day of making adjustments and figuring out the best way to attack them.
How much comfort does that give you knowing you have that resource in both of them?
Yeah, I have so much faith in what we do here as an entire, that's what I love about this place is it's not, the coaches have their process, we have our process, and, we just do what they say. It's a collaborative effort. We're always talking and thinking about new ways we can attack a defense, get better throughout the week of practice, add a route here, add a play here. And that's why I think we're so good is because, we have really great football minds up there that know football, no game plans, and no defense.
Is that the biggest difference between this year's offense and last year's offense is the fact that you guys can win in about 52 different ways?
I wouldn't say that. I think last year we found a lot of ways to win a lot of different games. I just think this year we're a much more complete team from top to bottom.
Joe, you talked about having it the hard way, going the hard way. If you look around that locker room, probably a lot of guys in there with you. Have you noticed that down in these past 2 years about, a guy like Hilton from a, undrafted free agent, guy like DJ Reader didn't get re-signed by his other team. I think DJ talked about this after the game. You get the sense that you guys are kind of in this together as kind of guys who have been a lot of you have gotten here the hard way.
I think, I would say that's fair. There's a lot of guys in that room. I would say there's a lot of guys throughout the league that have had it the hard way, and I know personally I wouldn't have had it any other way. It's made me who I am as a person and as a player. And there's a lot of guys in that locker room like that that are still trying to prove themselves. No matter how many wins or how well they play or how many contracts they sign, they're still going to get their work in because that's what got them to this point.
There was a lot of praise about how you took care of the ball in Buffalo and just how you distributed it. Do you feel like now that you've been through the playoffs and playing on the road, like did that make you understand even more just how important ball security is in major games like this?
Yeah, well, that's imperative in every game. If you're going to want to win, you can't really turn the ball over, especially in games like this, if you want to go win the game. And as a defense, you're always trying to cause turnovers. And so, you try to find the balance of taking your shots and taking risks and pushing the ball down the field and also, taking care of the ball, especially when your defense is playing so well. And so you've always got to find a balance as a quarterback, and it varies game to game.
You've got a lot of guys on your roster who played in like really big games in college, like college ball playoff type of games. A lot of guys you signed for agency who played Super Bowls before coming here even. How do you think that showed up over your run the past few years, and do you think that matters?
Well, I think that's kind of something that front office and Zach looked for in guys when they came in is bringing guys that have won and have the right stuff inside of them to go out and win those kind of games that we want to win. And they've done a great job of assembling this team. And really it's tough to get a look into a guy's heart and mind when you're trying to sign him or draft him. And they've done a great job of doing that because every guy that we have in there is made of the right stuff and wants to win.
Joe, what did you learn from last year's AFC Championship game at Arrowhead that you can lean on this time around?
I don't know. It's we've just more experience, more reps. We know the team we're playing. We've played them a bunch, and so I'm sure they're going to have some wrinkles off of things that they've shown us in the past, whether it was last game or the playoffs last year, because they know that they're going to be studying all three of these games just like we are. And so we're going to have to be ready for anything.
Joe, specifically about the environment there, Kansas City's known to have a really tough home crowd.
Yeah, it was definitely loud, but I think we excel in those situations, and our communication has been great on the road. It was flawless last week in Buffalo in a really loud, hostile environment, and that's something that we take pride in is communication, being on the same page, and going from there.
What do you like about Mixon as a running back first and then as a teammate as
Well, obviously everyone sees what he can do on the field, and then in the locker room he's energetic, brings a lot of juice, gets guys fired up, and so guys love playing with Joe, and I'm the same way.
You guys have been able to use Jamar in some different ways lately. Can you just talk about his development from last year to this year? What he's understanding better and that type of thing?
Well, he just has more experience in the offense, and maybe where I'm sure he could have done a lot of that stuff last year. Maybe we didn't ask him to, but this year we're putting him in the backfield, we're putting him in the slot, we're putting him out wide, just because it makes it harder to double him and cloud him and just take him out of the game. And so you got to find ways to get that guy the ball because he's so dynamic with it.
Does he understand what you're trying to do, the overall big picture in the offense better this year than last year?
I don't know if I would say that. He understood it and was super dialed in last year too. And so that's probably a better question for him. I know I never have to tell him what to do.
Joe, this team continues to say, way back here, you guys don't need motivation, you don't need to prove anyone wrong, and yet you continue to use anything for motivation. Where does that come from? What's the mindset kind of behind that?
I think that's part of this game, part of being a competitor, whether it's football or basketball or baseball or any sport. You're gonna find any little thing you can, whether it helps or it doesn't. I know nobody in that locker room needs any more motivation than what's inside of them, and that's why we're so good. But whenever you can find some little thing externally, you might as well use it.
Do you play better kicked off?
No, I don't. I try not to play that way, and I try to play without emotion, because that's when I feel like I'm at my best, and I feel like you have to be that way as a quarterback. You can say what you want in the locker room and to you guys, and then when you get on the field, it's all even keeled. Can't be too high, can't be too low, because bad things are going to happen throughout the game. If you get too low, it's going to be tough to get out of it.
Have you ever experienced the fine line in a game or in any situation in your playing career, the fine line between being cocky, thinking you can do anything at any time, and just being confident with what you're doing?
I think, like you said, there is a line, and when I'm on the field, I'm going to play the way that I play. I'm going to play, confident in my abilities, but also understanding situational football. And sometimes if you want to push the ball down the field or push it into a tight window because you can, there may not be a reason to in a moment. Like we get up big early last week, and so maybe there were some throws where I try to push the ball down the field a little more, but we're running the ball well, and our defense is playing great, so maybe you take a check down here or there as opposed to fitting something into a tight window. And so I think that's really where we've made strides as a team, is understanding those situations and understanding when we can and can't take those risks.
Your offensive line has protected you well, but you've also protected them. You get the ball out of your hands so fast. 2.5 seconds was the average in the last game. 1.1 second was the fastest. Did you even have the laces in your fingers when you threw it?
No, not on that one.
But you did.
That one came out a little wobbly.
But was that obviously a big thing, trying to get the ball out of your hand as quickly as you could, make things easier?
Yeah, I try to do that every game, because the way we play, you try to play that way, because the way defenses play us, they're going to give up that underneath stuff until you make them come up and defend it, and then you can take your shots over top. And so that's kind of who we've become, and really we've been able to be that way because of our run after the catch ability and how good our backs are out of the backfield. Catching the checkdowns and getting 8 yards as opposed to catching it at 2 and getting tackled at 3. So you got to give credit to those guys for that.
The Chiefs, since that first time you played him, have double-teamed Jamar as much as anyone. He's still making huge plays. How does he do it when teams throw everything at him and he still makes huge plays?
Man, he's one of the best. So anybody that watches the tape can see it. You can double him, you can cloud him, you can have a guy follow him. He's gonna get his. You just got to find ways to get him touches, because, like I said, of how dynamic he is with the ball in his hand.
The creativity that you guys had last week, moving him around, he was lining up in the backfield, I think, more than we've seen. Is that fun, having a weapon like that move around?
You can tell how much attention he attracts from the defense when you put him in different spots. He attracts so much attention because of how fast and how big and how strong he is, that it opens up opportunities for other guys sometimes when maybe he's not the primary.
Joe, you talk about having even-keeled emotions and then having a collaborative effort with Zach and the coaching staff. What kind of leadership style goes into that? How do you kind of describe your style when it comes to everything on and off the field?
Yeah, I don't know. I've had that question before, and I never really know how to answer it. I just try to be myself. I think that's the only way you can lead, because guys can tell if you're trying to fake it, if you're trying to fake who you are. And so I think the best way to be a leader is to just be yourself and go from there.
You get a kick out of when Jamar actually is on the field and a guy hits him for the first time. You say how strong and powerful he is. On tape, you don't really get a feel. On the field, they feel it. You get a kick out of when they give the double take and like, oh crap.
Man, I can see it on film too, Lap. The guys are flying off of him and bouncing off of him like he's a wall. It's crazy how stout and how strong he is with the ball in his hand.
What's the craziest reaction you ever saw on the field when a guy hit him for the first time, got up and like, oh my God?
Well, it's just when he has the ball in space and guys are trying to tackle him and he's just running through them like they're not there. You're not going to tackle him with an arm tackle. It's just not possible.
How different do you feel through this playoff run? You haven't gotten hit as much this year. You had last year to kind of learn how to navigate a long season. So how is that kind of manifesting this postseason?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I think last season did help a lot of guys in there understanding how to take care of their bodies through these long, deep playoff runs, and that's part of the experience that helps you win these kind of games. Not just the on the field stuff and going in hostile environments, but being through these long seasons and understanding where you might have been better if you had done something different off the field last year. And so I think guys have taken strides and taken that to heart.
Joe, Brian earlier today called the throw you made to Jamar in the end zone. It eventually got called back. One of the better throws he's seen you make. Can you walk through kind of what you saw in that play and how you knew that little hole would be there, even though there were two defenders on the line at that?
Yeah, they were doubling him, but just based on the route that we had on, I figured I was going to get one of the defenders to turn and run with him and not be looking at me. So when that happens in the red zone, there's always a spot to put it.
And how do you? This might be hard to explain, but like how do you kind of see that? Like how fast you have to recognize that, and how do you think you can see that stuff?
Prep, reps, playing football. There's no substitute for it. You just, the more football you've seen, the more reps that you accumulate against looks, the faster you're going to be able to see those same looks later.
You've made some big runs against the Chiefs over the last few years. Do you have a favorite?
No, I probably don't have a favorite. A couple of them in the AFC Championship last year were pretty fun.
I think coach just said that you're feeling great. You got, I don't remember what quarter, but you took a pretty big hit and were down for a little bit. Are you all good?
All good.